So when it comes to Iron-Blooded Orphans model kits, most people think that the IBO stands for Iron-Blooded Orphans, which would make sense, but no, it actually stands for Involuntary Bends Over, because all of these kits involuntarily bend over all of the time. That is besides the master grade, but before that, we had a lot of floppy kits and none were as floppy as the 1/100 line. So last time I took a look at the 1/44th scale high-grade Gundam Gusion Rebake. And I did ask you guys if there's any other particular Iron-Blooded Orphans kits that I missed, and I totally missed the second half of the 1/100 no-grade Gusion review. So if you haven't seen the first half of this review, that is the first version of Gundam Gusion, the one that kind of looks like a big old armored turtle in green. So inside of this particular box, you do get both variants. Well, there's 3 variants of Gusion, but you get the first 2 variants, which is the green one I just mentioned, and the Gundam Gusion Rebake, all in one box, and you can build one or the other. So I did take a look at that variant, so if you want to know about that, you can check that video out. It is a bit old at this point, but today we're going to be taking a look at the Rebake mode, or basically when it's gotten one hell of a Tekkadan upgrade. Man, I'm getting hungry, I need a snack. I guess it's time for a Bokksu. Wait a minute, somebody ate my Bokksu! No! Well, no need to worry. From now until the 30th of December, you can order your Bokksu and receive it in a Kiribako wooden box. Lovingly handcrafted in Koga City, Japan by Matsuda Kiribako, and that gold foil design on the top is exclusive to Bokksu. That is pretty awesome. Oh, and by the way, have you ever wanted to travel to Japan for free? This video is sponsored once again by those snack masters over at Bokksu, a monthly snack box subscription service that delivers an original assortment of premium Japanese snacks and tea pairings. Bokksu makes such a perfect and memorable gift for anyone in your life who appreciates Japanese snacks and heritage, especially during a time where people aren't able to travel as easily as they'd like to. And actually, not only would you be gifting them a Bokksu, which is already awesome, but also you'd be technically gifting them the chance to win free tickets to Japan, because Bokksu is having a giveaway. They will be picking one lucky winner to win a set of tickets, and anyone who has subscribed before December 31st is automatically entered. I'll make sure to include a link in my description so you can check out the terms and conditions, as well as other methods of entry. So yeah, do you want free tickets to Japan? Then use my code MECHA10 and the link in the description to become eligible to win the giveaway by subscribing to Bokksu. My code will also get you 10% off that subscription. Do not miss out on this unique opportunity, available to anyone who subscribes until December 31st. So first off, there's the overview of absolutely everything that I'm going to be looking at in this video, so not the usual everything that comes in the box, because if you're wondering where is that halberd or the rest of the stuff, I cannot find it. I have no idea where I put my 1/100 Gundam Iron-Blooded Orphan stuff. It's around somewhere, but I can't find it as of right now. This is what was attached to this on the shelf, so that's what we're going to be going with. And that is the Gusion shield, Gusion's rifle, and that big old backpack. But as usual, first off, we're going to take a look at the Gundam Gusion itself. So jumping now into the aesthetics, and first off I'm going to mention about this particular line, that is the Iron-Blooded Orphans 1/100 no grades. This is the line that came from Season 1 before the full mechanics. Now, when it comes to mecha model kits, these are good kits, but when it comes to Gundam model kits, these are, well, about as subpar as you can get. And what I mean by that is, usually when it comes to gunpla, Bandai seems to really push to make it that you have a perfect model kit right out of box. That you just snap build it, it's done. Color accuracy perfect, stability perfect, posability perfect. Bandai usually nails it all. But even back a few years ago when this came out, I really didn't feel this was up to spec. Now, if you're going to customize the kit, and I mean even just tighten it up, clean it up, paint it up, fill in some hollow parts, then this is still a stellar mecha model kit. Just not very highly recommended for something that you're gonna build out of box. If you take this compared to the high-grade 1/44th scale one we took a look at a couple of days ago, this one definitely is head and shoulders above it, and I just don't mean in size. Detail-wise, this looks a lot nicer. We've got a full, almost fully color-accurate transforming head. At least I think it's transforming. I'm gonna have to take a look at that. And the detailing in general is so much nicer. If you take all of those pipes and pistons, give them a little bit of color, maybe some metallic paint, they will look killer. I did update and paint up my Vidar a little bit. I have that in storage, so I can't actually pop it in here. I will pop up some footage though. And that just brings it to a whole different level, and that wasn't even that much work. That was just an extra 30 to 40 minutes. So yeah, when it comes to the aesthetics on these kits, the main aspects are there for a hobby kit. The silhouette is phenomenal, the detail is very nice, the part separation is really cool, and if you do give it that little extra, tighten it up, paint it up, detail it up, this will look even perfect beside a master grade. And hopefully we do get a few more than the one that we have, because this thing, the master grade Gundam Barbatos, is such a masterpiece. We need a Gusion that is this spectacular. So once again, hopping right on back to the beginning of the video where I showed everything I'm going to take a look at accessories-wise, so let's take a look at them. So the first of the accessories, at least I'm going to be treating it as an accessory, is the backpack that really does make the Gundam Gusion Rebake so iconic. That is the one rocking those extra sub-arms harvested from a graze. These fold out quite simply and effectively. The mechanism here is much nicer than what we would have seen with the high grade, which can get a little bit clogged at times. This is very seamless and made up of a whole bunch of joints. There are some very nice aspects on this, like the very nicely detailed thrusters, as well as all of that nice pan lining all along the surface. But we do have a couple of negative aspects to mention as well. This thruster, which can move ever so slightly like this, does have a sticker on there because, as you can assume, is not fully color accurate. And from below you can actually see up into the kind of, what I can only describe as the parts. You can just see that it's a bunch of parts. It does not look mechanical in any kind of way. But again, for the most part, that's not really something you'll be seeing. Now, there's something you guys wanted to know about this, and I wanted to know it too. And that is, can the Master Grade Gundam Barbatos with the Master Grade Gundam frame actually use the backpacks from the 1/100 kits? Sadly, the answer is a resounding, well, maybe, and yeah, kind of, but no. And the reason for that is kind of like what we would have seen with the real grade High New Gundam's backpack with the real grade New Gundam. That is the pegs on here. These are a standard size. They look like 3mm. These holes are just too big, which means these don't fit. So that does mean on the other side of the coin, the Gusion's backpack to the master grade frame, these are slightly too fat. They are the exact same distance apart though, so that means all you have to do is pare these down ever so slightly and these will fit. So these will fit with modification, just not right out of box. But yeah, as you'd expect, attaching this onto the Gusion just involves popping it in like so. So that right there is what the 1/100 Gusion Rebake looks like with the arms attached, and there is no denying how cool this looks, and it even is more impressive in 1/100 scale just because the sheer size. These look so dynamic, so cool. So yeah, what can I say? I'm willing to forgive every single one of this kit's out-of-box issues just for the fact that this looks absolutely killer. So now moving on to the weapons, or should I say weapon, because I have misplaced that halberd somewhere, but that is the rifle right here. Like we mentioned with the 1/44th scale one, this is a variant, or should I say an upgraded variant of a Graze rifle. So the surface detailing on this is quite nice. It's all in the one shade of plastic, which is accurate. I will mention we do have a little slot on the side, which is a low-tech way of attaching it onto the kit when not in use, and the seam line up top has been nicely disguised as detail. Always a nice touch. The side up here doesn't have anything fancy like clear parts, just a green sticker slapped on it there. To attach this into the hand, first off you remove these 3 pieces in order to get into that handle. Attaching the hand is the usual sandwich style way, but we do have a peg to hold the hand on, and the fingers then just attach on, just like so. This attaches in via a ball joint. Just like the rest of the kit, it does have the IBO, which is the involuntary bending over. So yeah, it is afflicted a little bit with a limp wrist. Pop this on. And this one down here can actually work as a kind of support, but more so with the Graze arms, which have the slot. These arms don't. And speaking of the Graze arms with the slot, you can use them with the rifle as well. So next up in here is the Gusion shield, which once again is the back of the original Gusion. We've got some nice detail in here. These little segments actually pivot up and down, these thrusters. Around back we've got some slots, as well as a whole bunch of miscellaneous areas for attaching stuff onto. The arm segment here is rocking some articulation, so it can move in and out like so, twist around like that. This is a locking mechanism right here. This is also another locking mechanism, so we'll keep that in place. We've got a final point of articulation up here. We've got 2 points of articulation on the arm for attaching this onto, so that's a lower one and an upper one, so that is one more than we would have seen on the high grade. This can pivot on the arm, move around, and do a whole lot of nice movements, so you can always get this exactly where you want it. Around the back, we've got some of these flat pegs for attaching the rifle, but from what I can see, you do have to remove one of these segments in order to do it. Again, I do not have the instructions handy, so this right here is a complete assumption. But anyway, it pops on like that, or can pop on, I should say. And finally, to store the shield away and make it the butt flap armor, you just attach it on as simple as that right there. And it does have a little bit of a wiggle while attached. Finally, I thought this had a transforming head, but it turns out I'm completely wrong. All it can do is move its antenna like so. I thought there was actually a transforming gimmick in here, but there does not seem to be. I've popped the parts off and... oh wait, is that it? Is that it transformed? Did I do it? Wait, it looks like we've got a different segment down here to pop this into. Oh, looks like we're getting somewhere. Shift this down a notch, and there we go. The long-range targeting mode, so its head does transform. That's cool. It's actually nice little gimmicks like that make me wonder how difficult or easy would it be to transport, or should I say transplant, all of this armor onto the master grade frame, because the armor still looks pretty nice. With a bit of paint, that could look really cool. So anyway, jumping into the articulation and just the general comment on the build first, and yeah, this is one very loose kit, like I've said so many times before, especially in the hips. So I do recommend tightening this up if you want to have a good time. So this right here is a kit that I wouldn't say has a giggity goo, mainly because it's lacking a lot of articulation up on the ball joint here. So that's as high as the head can ever go. There it is all the way down, side to side, and we've got a little bit of a pivot here, so quite limited. We've got a little bit of a mooch right here, but not a lot. The shoulder armor can move up like so, rotate forward and back at this segment right here. Then the arm has its own articulation. There it is all the way up, all the way down. Full rotation right here. Double jointed elbow bend, not too bad. And a standard ball joint wrist. As for the ab crunch, we've got forward and back. The pistons do work, which is very nice. We've got a lower joint here that just kind of gives us a little bit of side to side. So in general, quite limited this kit. Skirting armor moves up like so. Side skirts up and down only. Butt flap is fixed in position. A forward and back mechanism in the hips. There's the kick all the way up to the front. There it is, blocked a bit out to the back. And as for the splits, no problem. Besides, well, you know, holding a pose. A decent rotation at the upper leg. The leg in here has a 2-point bend, so that's what we get. Looks like that when attached. On the ground, the ankle gives us that to the front, so that is not too bad. There it is out to the back, so not too bad again. And there's the side to side. So as usual, it's just mainly the general strength of the kit that tends to be an issue. We have a toe that bends up like so, and this part can pivot out of the way slightly to get a little bit more. Around to that awesome backpack, and we've got a... oh! Anyway, up to the shoulders, we've got a ball joint in here, which allows this to move around like so. We've got a pivot just above that, which brings it forward and back. The individual thrusters can move down and up like so. The arms in here rock full arm articulation, so that is a rotation right here, a bend at the elbow right here, and a full hand with ball joint wrist. So these are quite good. There's even more articulation inside to change where on that big old section this is popping out. Finally then, this little thruster can move up and down like so. So yeah, as for the articulation on the 1/100 Gusion Rebake right here, it is very limited, but because of the nature of this particular mecha, it still looks ridiculously dynamic once it's in a pose. Once again, thanks to those awesome looking sub arms up top. Again though, it is basic, it is loose, and will need some extra work to tighten it up, but either way, not bad. So anyway, that right there is it for the review, and as things go, this particular kit I cannot rate because I've only got, well, half the kit right here. I don't have the previous Gusion bits handy right now, but my assumption is this would definitely be at the bottom of the tier rankings, mainly because it doesn't really do anything particularly well. Now that is out of box. All of these reviews are about the out-of-box item, not necessarily what you can do with them. But when it comes to this kit, it does have a lot of nice visual aspects. So if you do put in the time, paint in the details, panel line it, this has the potential to be a nice bit of shelf candy and definitely will match with your master grade Barbatos with that little bit of extra work. Anyway, as always, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to come back for more Gunpla reviews, and I will be seeing you next time. Thank you so much to each and every one of you guys for watching these videos. Without you, this channel would not be possible. And my special thanks to those helping out over on the channel memberships and over on Patreon. So that includes Craig Jerry, Caleb Engelhardt, Sean T. Van Fawn, Global Frequency Studios, Lauren Seahack, Joseph Kuklunk, Mr. Winter, Forsetti, Joe, and Orgy 59061.